Hi, welcome, good afternoon. Live from the North Carolina coast. My name is Michael. I am the founder of BackToTheFutureTrading.com. And it is an honor and a pleasure to be here with you all. I trust you're well. I hope you had a great day today. Tons of volatility, lots of ups and downs and whee in the markets today. And with the benefit of predictive timing, we had an awesome time today in our live trading room that met this morning, and I hope you had a great time as well. We are the only company, as far as I know, we are the missing link, the missing piece, the Neanderthal gene of trading evolution, where we show the times and directions of the market, moves that are likely to occur in advance. Well, how do you do that? I'm going to show you. We're the only company that gives you the times in advance and dares you to come 2 days later and see what actually happened at those times. That would be today. We come back together after Wednesday and all of Thursday's session, and we look and see and apply an actual trading set of trading rules to those times, a very simple setup, and we determine whether or not this is worth your time. Welcome. I have some guests here today. Joe, I'm glad you're here. Welcome. And Jim, I'm glad you're here as well. Billy, you're back. You're definitely checking us out again. Sweet mystery of life. Some of you have come to 3, 4, 5, 6 webinars and still haven't purchased. It's absolutely mind-boggling how much pain and suffering you can withstand. Markets are not random. There's no such thing, in my opinion, as random anymore. There is always an element of guidance, of order in the most chaotic of things. And when you have enough data to look at, when you have enough computing power to analyze it, patterns begin to emerge. And so when we're looking at historical data, for example, we presume that banks are reacting just like we do to the news. We presume that when there is good news, the market goes up, and when there is bad news, the market goes down. We presume that when people are trading at an institutional level, that they're playing fair and they're not breaking the laws. And if they do, they get punished severely, maybe even go to jail. We presume all those things, and none of them, in my opinion, are true. We believe banks control all of it. We believe they have a plan every morning for what the market is likely to do. We know, in fact, that the news is something they construct. They know what the GDP is going to be. They know what the reserve chairman is going to say. They know how much oil is in the tanks before you see that report. And they know they're going to do the opposite at first to cause a panic, to run the stops, and to keep 95% of people who play this game out of the game. And so when a computer looks at these moves, when our program looks at these times, it discovers the moments and the directions that banks are pushing regularly. For example, our indicator might look at this oil chart and say over a span of thousands of bars, the market is likely to go up tomorrow at 10:35. And you would have an alert, a heads up. Hey, the people who control this game aren't playing fair. Get ready to cheat when they cheat. Most everybody who's taken a look at these markets, a look at traders and what they do, has spent more than 5 minutes researching what banks get caught doing, understands that random is wrong, And if random is wrong, then lagging indicators are wrong, then gurus are wrong, then studying the news and PE ratios and how many cyber trucks are in the parking lot. All of that is nonsense. Smoke and mirrors, window dressing, and a much larger, more nefarious game. A game which most people I've met in the last 15 years of doing this have lost. That's a tall order, Mike. That's a big statement. What are you going to do? What the other guys do? Are you going to show us a PowerPoint from 1979? Are you going to show us some after-the-fact screenshots and pump up your guru-ness? Are you going to wheel out some fake customers who tell us they've made millions in the last 3 weeks with a $5,000 starting balance? No. I'm not going to do any of those things. I don't have to. Every Tuesday for the last 15 years, we've been sending out the times in advance for very popular markets. Those of you who've been taking the trial, you understand that there's a link. I'm going to put the link in your GoToWebinar chat box. Some of you are taking this trial right now, and you're following these times every week. And on Tuesday, before the markets opened on Wednesday, you had access to the predictive times in the Eastern Daylight Time Zone for the S&P E-mini on a 3 and a 5 minute chart, for crude futures on a 3 and a 1 minute chart, for gold on a 5 minute, DAX on a 3, Euro currency futures on a 3, the mini Dow on a 3, the NASDAQ on a 1, the Euro on a 5, the pound dollar on a 5, and just because, Ethereum on a 5 minute chart too. Futures, forex, crypto. I gave out the times in advance for the markets you people trade the most often. Even the big scary ones like the E-mini S&P, the one most of you blow your accounts up on, the one most of you are trying to get funded for and with. All you Apex junkies and jockeys out there are usually trading this monster in pursuit of the ultimate dream, a funded account. Oh. Well, how does it work? I gave all the times and directions out on Tuesday. All of Wednesday, people were watching. All of Thursday, people were watching. And now we're here to see what the signals and the setups did. Spoiler alert, in 15 years of doing this, I've never once had egg on my face. I've never once had a hard time showing people how wonderful this approach is. When you approach markets with the correct world view, the idea that banks know in advance who done it in this murder mystery, that JP Morgan and Deutsche Bank are filled with immoral, thieving, lying you-know-whats. And their only purpose, their algorithms' only purpose, they're in league together, by the way. Their only purpose is to take the money from the middle class and deposit it in the 1% accounts. That's our worldview. And so if you understand they're cheating, this should be a relatively easy exercise for me. If we can find the times they're doing it, oh joy. Sweet mystery of life, I've finally found you. We're going to talk about 3 things in the next 15 minutes. Number 1, what is the raw information? What was the software? What were these indicators telling us to look for before Wednesday's market, before Thursday's market? Number 2, what's the language of time? What are the patterns that we're speaking about? We're going to reference the handout that's been in the GoToWebinar handout section for 6 years. You can click on that while we're getting ready. it's gonna say histogram guidebook V3, and something that resembles this is gonna pop up. And then finally, we're gonna look for setups. How do we trade once those times arrive? When do we get in? How big is our stop? How long do we stay in? When do we get out? So let's look at some of the raw information, right? Let's take a look at what the software was warning us about. And so I'm gonna come over here real quick. And yesterday, Tuesday, in fact, the software was warning us to watch for certain times on the E-mini S&P, right? So we're going to be specifically looking at this signal right here, right? This chart. On Tuesday, if you've been checking us out and following along and seeing if there's any type of chicanery or shenanigans going on, you had access to this chart for today. And on Tuesday, the program had said, traders, you need to be careful because the tricky banks, the thieving liars, have established behavior patterns. And these all are in Eastern Daylight Time. I don't know why we still have daylight savings time. It's weird. It's like the government and the institutions want to control when the sun comes up and goes down. It's quite annoying. As I get older, these things bother me more and more. But I don't want to be angry. I want to be happy because there's great news today. We have one thing we can control. We have one thing that they have less power over us because of. The software said, hey, all of these times when we get there on Thursday are selling pressure behavior times. They're selling pressure behavior times. And then all of these times, thanks Ken, all of these times on the bottom of the chart since Tuesday were warnings. When you get to these white lines, historically they're buying times. Historically, there are moments in the market when prices rise. Okay, so remember, we had this 2 days ago for today. There were a lot of reports out. How many of you remember today's reports were plentiful and abundant? I'll show you what I mean. Today, we had advanced GDP, unemployment claims, core durable goods orders, good trade balance, preliminary wholesale inventories. And then what's his face said something at some point. We had pending home sales. Powell's been in and out of the markets a couple of days now. All sorts of stuff. None of these reports were released on Tuesday for Thursday. We didn't know what any of those reports would result in. And so the fact that I can sit here today with a straight face and tell you, hey, these signals from Tuesday were important for Thursday. If you don't believe markets are rigged, if you don't believe timing has an element in it, and you're usually in on the wrong side at the wrong time, then everything I'm about to show you is useless and meaningless. But if you've been paying attention, if you've traded more than 6 minutes, you know that I might be onto something here. Okay. All of these signals, if you're referencing your guidebook, had the potential to be a 1, a 5, or a 7. We're going to talk about the patterns of time here now. All of these signals on the bottom had the potential to be a 2, a 4, or a 6. So we had a schedule like an airport departure and arrival board. Buyers arriving at 7:42. Buyers departing at 8:15, sellers arriving at 8:15. This was a schedule since Tuesday, based on the fact that these times on the S&P 3-minute chart over the last several thousand bars keep coming up and keep producing moves in the same direction. Do you understand? These times didn't come out of some magical Willy Wonka golden goose's rear end. They didn't come out of my guru brain in some Himalayan cave way up in the mountains. The only reason these blue and white lines are here is because these moves keep happening at these times lately. Do they change in the future? Sure. They won't be the same times next week. But this week, that's what we were watching for. Any questions so far? We have the times and we had an understanding of what to expect when we got there. An understanding of what to expect when we got there. What does that mean? It means most of the time, a buying signal is a buying signal. When we arrive at a buying signal in an uptrend, if it's a plain Jane buying signal and nothing special about it, it goes up. And if we're in a downtrend, a buying signal usually produces consolidation, a pause. If the market is falling, when you get to a buy time, it's when sellers take profit and cover shorts. That's a regular pattern one. When you get to a selling pressure time, they usually go down. We call that a number two. And in an uptrend, when the market is rising, the selling pressure times are like pouring water on a blazing fire. They're take profit moments, times where we expect the market to consolidate and maybe even reverse a little and go down. Those are regular ones and twos, and that happens most of the time. But every once in a while, they don't do that. Sometimes when you arrive at a selling pressure signal, if you arrive at it and it's a really brand new low, if the time of the signal or the candle to the left or the right, if any one of these three candles are a brand new low, it's like an oversold selling signal. And many times they'll reverse and go in the opposite direction. When they present themselves in the context of structure, when a selling signal time arrives at a new low, right? It's like almost like astrology. I was born a Virgo in the constellation Leo, or all of these things. When you were born, when this selling pressure signal was born, it arrived as a brand new structural low, and the polarity shifts. It reverses and goes in the other direction. In fact, the book even tells us how to trade it when we get there. Same thing happens for some of the buying pressure signals. If the buying pressure time arrives in the market at the tippy top, breaking prior swing highs, if it's a brand new high, the high of that candle, or the one to the right or the left are brand new highs, guess what? The polarity can reverse. Positive to negative, up to down. These are called inversion signals. It's the language of time. And we've figured out the hieroglyphics. We've studied it. I've personally looked at this over 20,000 hours. I did the math the other day. People come up to me all the time and say, how long does this take to learn? Well, you can master it at around 10,000 hours. That part was true. 20,000 though, you start to speak it fluently. So you drop somebody off in Acapulco for an hour, they can figure out how to say, where is the bathroom? You drop them off in Acapulco and pick them up 10 years later, they're singing Spanish opera music. They understand. what it means. So we're going to look at these patterns and signals on the market today that I gave you the times for 2 days ago. And I want you to see what happened at those times. So remember, on Tuesday, the software told us to look for these times, 9:06, 10:06, and so on. Here we are 2 days later, 9:06 and 10:06. Is everybody with me so far? Bill, am I tracking okay? Joe, am I keeping pace? Am I going too fast, too slow, just right? Okay, thank you. First thing I want to look for, are there any signals that did what was expected? Were there any signals where the moves we were expecting to happen since Tuesday produced any kind of relevant movement up here? Now, guys, look, 624, what did it do? 742, what did it do? 906, what happened up here? 1006, what happened down here? 1124, 1239 marks the low, 109 marks the high, and then there's something going on here with 218 we're going to look at in a second, and same for 406. So Leonard, are we seeing some signs of life here? Was any of this stuff relevant 2 days later? Yeah, about half of the signals. Okay, so when we look at these signals, the raw information, about half of them ended up being exactly what we were expecting. That's pretty good for a 2-day-old guess. Now watch what happens when we put those mechanical rules on top. Watch what happens when we look for those conditions, those backwards moments on top of this chart. And here's where your heads are going to explode. Okay, I'm going to get rid of these drawing tools and we're going to come back and reevaluate. So up here is a pattern 5. Down here is a pattern 4. Leonard, look, down here is a backwards pattern 4, and down here is a backwards pattern 4. Over here is a 5. Over here is a 5. Over here is a 5. And over here is a 4. Now let's focus on these for a second, shall we? Because here's where it goes bananas. What happened at 10:21 at the pattern 4? Leonard, did it go up or down? Went up. That kind of looks a lot like what the book was telling it might do. Meaning, come here. You had the book since last week. You had the signals since Tuesday. Let's take a look at what a 4 is. Ready? Excuse me 1 second. Prior structural low at 10:24 and 10:27, it makes a brand new low. Both of those get white arrows, and what's expected? This. Remember, 10:24 can be a 2, a 4, or a 6. And so on your computer, on candle close, that white arrow pops up and says, Leonard, abort, abort, it's a buy. Okay. And if you bought it at the low, it went up from 176.50 until the next time at 10:54, 199. How big of a move was that? If you bought it right here, it went up $1,000 per contract. Leonard, at 10:54, it says 5. There's the prior swing high. We're going to look at all of them. Don't worry, I see everything you're looking at. And then it puts a number 5 under the candle and goes, that's a backward signal. You're like, well, what does that even mean? I'm going to read the book. You don't have to, but a lot of people print this out and keep it on their desk. They put it on their wall. And now I'm looking at a pattern 5, and I'm saying, what does a pattern 5 do? Well, there's the prior swing. There's the higher high. That's what the book from 6 years ago said to look for. And then Leonard, watch. Uh-oh, it's starting to hook down. I wonder if it'll do what the book says. And it drops like a rock into 1124. So guys, boy, it sure feels like we had a pretty good idea. We knew what might happen. 1124 prints pattern 4. What does it do? Does it go up or down? Leonard, it goes up. 1157 is a 5. Barely. What does that mean? Prior swing high. Candle number 2 breaks through that high and says, look at me, I'm bigger. Look at me, I'm even taller than you. And the book goes, ooh, 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 I know what that is. That's a 5. What do 5s usually do? They drop in the opposite direction. Remember, there are 3 parts of this exercise. We know what times to watch. We know that banks cheat. We know they're laying in wait for us to make dumb decisions and go in the opposite direction they're about to move. There's a language in time. Think of it like a code, but code implies secrecy, like I'm some super genius and I'm the only guru in the world who knows the code. I don't believe that. We have customers. One today told me he used the Times today. He opened an Apex account and he's up $1,500 using just the Times I'm showing you. So I know it's not me. It's transferable, this knowledge. And the software automatically prints these times on the chart. The next signal down was a 4 at 1224. And look, at 1224, it hooks up. At 109, it goes down. At 12:39 at lunchtime, it finishes higher. Okay, so now that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 signals in a row. That's pretty good. Then you put the 906 signal back, the 742 signal back, and we can sort of say, hey, at 8:15, it didn't go down, it crept up, womp womp, just before the report. And then at 8:39, Leonard, look what happens, ready? It stops, it stops, it stops, it stops, it stops, it stops. It doesn't really go any higher, does it? It just stays right here until 905, 906. So the pattern 5 in an uptrend is a stall. It doesn't go anywhere. The price just consolidates and stays exactly there. Even if you sold it, you ended up exactly where you started when you're done. And now over here at 218, it goes down before it goes up. Look, there's a swing pivot high, and then it comes back and goes higher. I wonder where we could have known that might have happened. Oh, that's right, right here. Is everybody okay so far? Is everybody good so far? You didn't have to remember any of this. because this was printing out on the screen in real time. All of these signals were printing out in real time. You knew what to expect at every one of these signals in real time. Okay, can I keep going? Okay, good. Now, let's take a look at how we might have traded those, right? At 624, we could have taken a short 1, 2 ticks above the candle and put a stop right here. At 624, we could have put a stop 2 ticks above the high, gotten in at 624, and now Leonard, we could have gotten out at 742 for a $12.50 move. Otherwise, if you didn't want to take a counter trend trade, you could have entered when it closed below the 120 period moving average and put a stop above that candle. At 742, we could have entered short. It wasn't a pattern 5 yet. We could have entered long and gotten out here. Then we had a pattern 5 signal, and our stop is the hollow dot right here. So we're short, it comes up, it continues to rise, it continues to rise. It hits our stop right here, minus 250. At 8:15, the candle closes, it hits our stop, minus 350. At 8:39, we enter short with the pattern 5. It goes down, it goes down, it comes up, and it hits our stop above the high, and we exit minus 2. Now, a pattern 5 says when we violate the high in the direction of the trend, I'm just referencing the book. When we break that high, Leonard, we can buy it. Okay, so when it hits our stop, we can buy it right here. It comes out, stop and reverse, immediately comes down and hits our stop, minus 3. It comes back up, goes through the high again, we enter, and we exit, $4.50. We sell the 906 signal, the stop is right above the high, 3 ticks, minus 225. Don't worry, the good part's coming. The candle closes under the moving average. We sell it short. We exit by 10:06, $2.75. We buy the signal at 10:06 with an aggressive stop. We give up $4.50. Pattern 4 at 10:24, and we get another pattern 4 here. It holds. We get in and get out, $21.75. Market's moving now. 10:54 comes, stops above this candle. We enter short, we exit at 11:24, plus $23. Third candle is a pattern 4. We enter with a long right here. It goes up $300 in our direction, not enough for a break even, which is $500 for me, and it comes back and hits the stop, minus $1. Pattern 5 signal in the direction of the trend. We enter short. Leonard, we exit at the pattern 4 signal, $22.50. 12:24 pattern 4 signal long, and we hold it until here. It's basically a break-even trade. Long at 12:39, a stop just below the candle, minus 3/4. Short at 109, how far do we get? We get to $15, which gets me to break even. I need 10 for 500. And so I can now basically lock in 4 ticks and be done. Now we come into 218. Ready? It's a pattern 5 signal. I'm going to short it. It comes down, and then right here, Leonard, it closes above the moving average, and I get out. Minus $2.75. Once it closes above the moving average, I wait for it to break the high. It breaks the high and gets a maximum here of $16 in a row. I don't know how you would trail it. I have to count it as a break-even trade in my example, but you were up $16 straight away on the pattern 5 signal with trend. And then at 3:48, if you're still trading, the candle closes and it comes up $9 before 4 o'clock. So using the rules that I teach every week, those are all the possible trades you could have taken. Leonard, do you think you made more money than you lost hypothetically today? There's 14, 18, 20, 42, 65, 87, 88, 89. Let's call it an even $90 on the top. 87, 86, 85, 80, 77, 74, 71, 69, 67. Call it $60. Using the rules that I teach every week, there's $60 per contract using the times, the patterns, and the setups that I teach in the book. That equals $3,000 per contract. Using times that I gave people how many days ago? 2. Well, wait a minute, but what if you and carry the 6, divide by 2? That can't be right. Can that be right? That can't be right. How much did you make today, Mr. I don't own the software? How many webinars are you going to come to, Bill? And sit there and wonder, was this a 5? Was this a 4? Do I get in here? Do I get out now? How many more people are going to offer me $200 for the program? Well, I can give you 200. Your program's very expensive. I get those calls about 3 times a day now. Well, over at Ninjatraders, I can get a free trial and pay $100, and I could be in business right now. Try it. Keep using the garbage that the gurus promulgate in their well-oiled marketing machines. This is what's happening every day. It's not just on an intraday time frame. These are the forecasts on a daily chart. Leonard, what was the forecast for Wednesday, October 18th, on a daily chart? What was this very overpriced program warning us might happen? And when is that move expected to last until? November 1st. This is the daily chart. How far in the future can we see? Weeks, months. You mean they have a plan for the end of the year? Uh-huh. You mean I can take options with SPY and QQQ? I can use this on Tesla and Amazon and Nvidia, lions and tigers and bears? Oh my, yeah. It works on the E-mini S&P. Well, it can't possibly work on forex because that's a very rigged market, and I don't actually, it works on forex. Oh. I told 10,000 people in a forex trading group on Facebook that the market would drop from September 8th until October 5th and go up on October 5th until November 6th. You can look, it's in there. I don't have to prove anything. You can look at what the forecasts were and what the screenshot said. It works on oil. Works on oil on a 1-minute chart. Leonard, does that look like a random market to you? Look what happened at the white dots most of the time in oil today. Look what happened at the blue signals on oil today, 2 days later. There's a war in the Middle East. There's a war. Iran, Saudi Arabia, Syria, Israel, where all the oil is. You mean to tell me they had a plan? It wasn't random? Some guy screaming jihadi things in an oil field with a bazooka didn't make oil go up? No. The dudes at Exxon and Shell and BP, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. Here's the 3-minute chart in oil. Boy, that doesn't look random to me. Here, I'll scrunch it up so you can see all the signals. There's a plan. Pattern 5, down. Pattern 2, down. Pattern 4, up. Pattern 2, down. Oil is not random. I proved it. The E-mini Dow. Michael, I trade the mini Dow. Leonard, does that look like a random market to you? We knew all the times in advance since Tuesday. And I have to sit here and hear about your god-awful wrinkle bars and the fact that you use some hybrid tick range, volume range thing that your uncle left you in his will. And I'm looking at your crazy charts when you're showing me how wonderful your system is. And you got a 10, 20, 30, 80, 69, 121 moving average with a VWAP and a weighted moving average. And your chart looks like a Las Vegas casino. And these people try to convince me that they're doing it right. Well, Michael, order flow is the way. Does your stuff work with order flow? Are you kidding me? What are you doing? You believe this thing is fair. Oh, you believe in unicorns and Bigfoot and aliens and all that. Well, I believe in aliens, but all the other stuff. I gave you these times and directions on Tuesday, before the GDP, before Powell said anything yesterday, before non-farm payroll. And look at what Goldman Sachs did today. Look at when they did it. Look at where the stop runs were. 90% chance if you didn't own the software, you were on the wrong side of every one of those times. Every one. It's not limited to commodities or futures or stocks, whatever you want to look at. My favorite beast of burden is the NASDAQ. Don't trade the NASDAQ. Don't trade it. It's too volatile. Don't trade it. No one knows. And there it is, like a clock. Ding, time to go down. Ding, time to go up. Ding, 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 ding. The market that's the hardest to trade for most people is the most predictable and manipulated. The one you've heard the worst stories about works the best with the program. NASDAQ changed my life. I can't walk away from it. I'm addicted to it. And here's the best part. I can see the times coming up in the future. Oh, look at that, Bill. I can see the times for 7:38 tonight and 7:41 and 7:56 and 8 o'clock. They're all there waiting for me. All of these times are in the future, telling me what's in store and what direction. It might be a 5 or a 1 or a 7. It could be a 2 or a 4 or a 6. And when it happens, it'll tell me up, down. And I can look on a 1-minute chart. I can look on a 5-minute chart. And I can look on a 15-minute chart. And I can look at all of those things. And the times will be there waiting for me in the future. The times will be there waiting for me in the future. European markets, same thing. There's the DAX. You trade the DAX, no problem. Does the same thing. European banks are the worst. Did I just say that? I don't know what I just said it because it sounded funny in my head. But look, those are the signals for the DAX. The German stock market is just as manipulated as the American market. They had a plan. They had a plan. They have a plan for tomorrow and Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. So you have a choice. For 15 years, we've been giving traders a choice. Do you want to guess? Do you like watching every tick of every bar and sitting there till your butt goes numb? Do you like sitting there having to go to the bathroom and your wife is asking if you want to have breakfast together and you yell, no, I can't, because as soon as I walk away, the big move's going to happen. Some of you have jobs and you want to go do stuff. You have a few hours in the morning and you're not sure. Do I trade this economic report? Do I get in here? I got a few hours. Let me see. Can I make money in the mornings and the evenings? And you sit there and watch every tick of every bar and you use your piece of garbage indicator that you paid way too much money for from a guy who doesn't know his ass from his elbow, but boy, his marketing looks shiny. Boy, the person on the phone sounded smart when they called me 18 times. Or you can believe what you saw here today. You can choose to watch what's coming in the future. You can use an indicator that has over 22,000 lines of code. 12,000, not 20. I added 10 to it. I don't know why. Over 12,000 lines of code are searching for these patterns like submarines looking for battleships. Pong! There's a time to watch. Pong! There's another time to watch. Do you want to be proactive? Believe what you saw happen? The times were given out in the future, the signals were given out in the future, the patterns were given out in the future, the setups were determined before the markets opened, and 30 points passed on the ES using a mechanical set of rules. You could auto trade them. 100 people in a room would follow the rules and have the same results. Or do you want to sit there? Do you want to sit there and guess? Do I get in now? Oh, shoot, I got in too early. I'll get in again. Stop, filled. Ah, maybe I'm still too early. Stop, filled. Ah, I'm in the wrong direction. Let me try the other side. Stop, filled. Ah! We're not looking at moon signals, blue bulls. We're looking at real world signals. And here's the reality of your world. If you don't have the software, this is what you're waking up and trying to do every day. You're trying to run uphill against a muscle-bound computer algorithms whose only purpose it is to trip you up at the right time and take all your money. Well, I have a really fast computer. I don't care. Goldman Sachs has a room full of servers and an internet cable the size of your leg from New York to Tokyo to London. What do you think? What do you think you bring to this equation? You bring nothing because you don't believe what's really true. Most of you assume something. You assume that you can do these things, but you can't. Well, I'm a pure price action person, Michael. You know, it's I got a 3-bull candle there. I got a bullish engulfing. Got your basic trend lines over here. There's a doji. There's a doji. You know what a doji is? Yeah, I know what a doji is. Did you know what time to watch for it? Or did you sit there 14 hours waiting for your doji? That's my point. The longer you sit at the computer, the more money you lose. Can I get an amen? Most of you have incorrect assumptions. You believe the markets are fair. You believe they're efficient. You believe everyone's following the rules. And if we all look at all the available information, the person who's the smartest, who's learned the most, who's read the most reports will win. That person gets screwed every day. You want to know the golden rule? That's the golden rule. Goldman Sachs never loses money. When they lose trillions of dollars, guess who gives them the money back? You do. Their buddies at the Fed who used to work at Goldman Sachs fire up the printing press. And guess what? It's getting ready to happen in about a year. Those of you in my force class, in my force room, you know, I put it in the Skype group last night. I know when the crash is coming. This is not the crash. This is a liquidity run. This is not the crash. You ain't seen nothing yet. This is how most of you trade. My volume indicator said you should go up. My order flow said it's supposed to drop here. I'm at the second standard deviation of my VWAP. And Goldman just laughs. Thanks, Joseph. I'll text you when we're done, bud. This is my close too, Joseph, my climactic conclusion. It's almost evangelistic. This is what our customers do. When Goldman moves, we move. When Goldman stops, we stop. When they trade, we trade. When they close, we close. When is the important part of that formula. When is the important part of that formula. If you want to win, you got to be smarter than the people that you're fighting. You win battles by knowing the enemy's timing. Centuries-old wisdom. Banks do not expect you to believe this. JP Morgan doesn't think you'll listen to me. They think you're happy. Struggling and struggling. Oh, I wrote in my trade journal today. How's that going for you? Did you figure it out, sir? No, he's writing in his trade journal. Did you see the webinar with the guy? Yeah, he didn't believe him. Phew! More money for us. More money for us. And meanwhile, the moves keep happening. The moves keep happening. If you want to know 60–70% of the time in the future, when to look for the signals, what direction, small risk, hold it for a predetermined amount of time, know how long to hold it, then here's how we get started. The program that I'm talking to you about today is TachEon Warp. It is our flagship product, #1 on the left, Western culture. We learn from left to right. We read from left to right. Warp is the flagship product. That Mr. Potato Head, hairy, hairless guy is me. And at the bottom of this page is a big orange button that will change your life. I'm going to put a link to the page in your GoToWebinar chat box. It is in there now. You can click on the link at the bottom of the page. When you click on that orange button, we have a trade room when you buy the software that you can join. I have a room too. $150 a month. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you can watch customers who have the software, who are trading live accounts, guide you and show you when the setups are coming, if you need that kind of thing. If you don't want that, don't click it. This is the purchase agreement. Read through that, make sure you're comfortable with it. And then on this page, if you put a promo code, WARPOFF, WARPOFF, I can spell. Hooked on Pahonics worked for me. Warp off. Takes $500 off the price. The promo code is WARPOFF. This comes with 2 computer licenses, lifetime updates, Ninjatrader 8 compatible, free video training archive, free installation if you need it. We'll actually install it on your computer. Ninjatrader, if you don't have it, is easy to download. It's free for charting. It'll connect automatically to your Apex account. It'll connect automatically to your Interactive Brokers or TD Ameritrade account. You can use your data from any of those 3 sources if you don't have a Ninjatrader account. We've been in business for 15 years. We've been reviewed a few times by some customers. These are real traders, real people. We don't have any fake reviews on here. These are real people that you can talk to, and they're all saying the same thing. Paid for my investment in 3 hours. Leonard is here tonight, one of our newest customers. Thrilled to have you on board. These are real people. Read through what they say. No fake reviews. I didn't write a word other than the response. I can't delete anybody's reviews. There's a 1-star review. The very first review was 1 star, and I have to look at it every time I come here. That's what you have an opportunity to participate in today and join a small group of people who are killing it in the markets that they trade. Amen and amen and amen. Anybody have any questions before we finish up here this afternoon? You're awful quiet here today. Tomorrow you have an opportunity. Tomorrow you have a chance. If you want to know what times SPY is going to go up and down on your 5-minute chart, you can know. If you want to know when to get in on your call for Tesla, you can. If you want to know when the GBP JPY is about to collapse, you can know with reasonable assurance, as much as we can have, when in the future to wait for the trade, how long it's going to last, and what direction it's likely to go. The 3 missing ingredients that most of you have been searching your whole trading lives for is here. I have nothing left to say. I want to thank you for coming. I appreciate all of you. Those of you that are customers, thank you so much for your support, for your feedback, for your accolades, for your testimonials. It has been a pleasure to serve you this last decade and a half. For those of you considering coming forward, you may get an email or a phone call from a guy named David. He's with us. He's using this program for options right now. On his side of things, he can help out a lot, getting you started, getting you on board, and getting your transaction taken care of. Please take advantage of him as a resource if he reaches out to you. Text him back, answer his phone call. Promise it'll be worth your while. May the wind be at your back. May the golden, glorious sunshine shine upon your beautiful, handsome faces. May the valleys rise up to meet you. May the mountains lay low before you as we move forward together as a community, joined in purpose, joined in profitability, joined in fellowship together, taking back what's ours, leveling a playing field, moving forward in your hopes and dreams, whatever you have planned for yourself, whether it's getting out of your job, supporting a charity, helping your family. I am for you. We are on your side. We believe you can do it. We've helped other people. We truly do. You have no reason to believe this other than what I've shown you here today. We truly do believe that we can help and want to. I've done supernatural things today to prove to you this works, things no other vendor or webinar can do. It's up to you to decide if what you saw today was real or just another elaborate hoax. I hope you'll believe me when I say it was real. Have a great night, everybody. Take care. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email me, or when Dave reaches out to you, he can get you in touch with me if you have questions he can't answer. I love you all. Take care. Good luck tomorrow. If you don't have the times and you're risking it, you're going to bet it all on red and double down one more time. Maybe trading isn't for you. I would suggest that perhaps what you're doing isn't trading and maybe it's gambling, and you should stop now before you lose your account, your house, your marriage, your life, your job, your kids. I've seen it all. Everything can disappear in one moment, one trade in one day. If you're going it alone, perhaps maybe you should take a step back and reevaluate and not do that. I would rather you not do it than lose it all, because once it's gone, it's gone. If you're ready to qualify for your funded account, be in a community of people that are doing it, getting their payouts and using the trade replicator over there at Apex and doing great things, we're happy to help you with that too. There are customers on staff that are mentoring people now and showing them how to do what they did. We're here and we want to help. Have a great night, everybody. I'll take care of you soon and have a great night. Bye-bye.